I want to welcome each and every one of you to the annual State of the School. And it's, and as usual with these things, no one sits in the front. I won't make you do push-ups or anything, so whoever's coming in, just kind of send them down to the front. But if you don't know who I am, I'm Rohan Williamson. I'm the interim dean. So for the next year, whatever doesn't go well, you have to blame it on me. And then I'll blame it on Luke. Okay? So at this time, we want to invite up Reverend Brian Osvik to bless the occasion. So, Reverend Osvik.
Please join with me in a spirit of mindfulness, meditation, or prayer. Let us pray. Impulse of all existence, we've gathered together as we prepare for this new academic year to bring to mind our mutual work as one community. We share our hopes for the returning students and the incoming class. For those returning students, may they return to this campus with fresh perspective and full resolve in their continued pursuits. For our new students, as they step from one place in life to the next, may their family and friends find consolation in the change. May the new students find a home in a new place, and may we all together discover a fullness of life. During this time of conflict in our nation and throughout our world, may our work be for the upbuilding of all people in the knowledge we both acquire and the knowledge we share. May we endeavor to raise ourselves and our students to the highest potential of their humanity. And may we form a community of persons, professors, staff, alums, and students who seek to make this world a more gentler place. We seek these things from the ground of our being. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. So just a quick outline for the next hour or so. And what we're going to do, as usual, is give you updates on the state of certain parts of the school, and then I'll come back with concluding remarks. So we're going from the operational side, we're going to hear from Lynn Devers, new faculty, and Lynn will also introduce the new staff members, new faculty and what they've been up to, the current faculty and our new hires. Luke will talk about that for a bit. Then Patricia Grant will discuss the undergraduate programs and its development. The MBA program is going to be done for Prashant, I would say, before they get here, but Prashant's been hard at work for several weeks now. And then we're going to have Paul Almeida to come up, and Paul will just come up and do the Paul thing. And then I'll come back with some concluding remarks. Turn it over to Lynn.
Good morning. I'm going to introduce the employees who have joined our staff since January 1st. And I'd appreciate it if each person I call would stand up so we can see who you are. So from the Center for Financial Markets and Policy, John Jacobs, Executive Director. Okay, doesn't look like John is here today. From the Dean's Office, Tara Davis, Executive Assistant to the Dean. And Devendra Upadhyaya, Finance Associate. From Executive Education, Lauren Hayes, Assistant Director of Program Management. Okay, no Lauren. Okay, so from Faculty Services, Anne Pichion-Nonette, Faculty Assistant. And Anne is actually a returning employee. She was Bob Parker's assistant for years until he retired. She left, and now she has come back to join us. So welcome, Anne. From Marketing and Communications, Stephanie Martineau, Assistant Director of Events. In the way back. Okay, so this is this employee's first day with us. From MBA Admissions, Kenny Tan, Director of Data Analytics and Operations. We have 5 new employees since the first of the year in the MBA Career Center. Diana Banks, Associate Director. Maureen Carpenter, Director. Beth Moore, Associate Director and Senior Manager of Operations. Conant Shonley, Assistant Director and Manager, Data and Business Intelligence. and Gina Spinelli, Operations Coordinator. From the MBA Program Office, we have Amy Dorsey, Assistant Director, and Laura Erickson, Student Services Program Manager. This is also this employee's first day. From the Technology Center, Cindy Pickering, Director of Applications and Database Development. And finally, we have 2 new employees in the Undergraduate Program Office. Andy Harms, he's the Executive Assistant and Office Manager. And Dan Minot, who actually is not here today with us, but he is the Senior Associate Director and Academic Counselor. And now I'm going to turn the program over to our Deputy Dean, Luc Batu.
Thank you, Lynn. Good afternoon, everyone. We will start with introducing our great new faculty members. The way we will proceed is I'm going to scan the room, and when a new faculty is being scanned, they say their name, their affiliation to an area, and their main research interest. This morning I learned that most of them want to run a marathon, but that's not what they are supposed to talk about right now. So, okay. So we start with Shafak here. Yeah.
I'm Shafak. I am joining the Operations and Information Management group as an assistant professor. I am a graduate of Duke's two-class sports business, and my main research interest is on energy investments, particularly how to incentivize more investments in renewable sources such as solar and wind.
Okay, Shafak, thank you. A little too long. Okay. Evelyn. Chris here.
I'm Chris Parker, a graduate from the business school. I am a visiting assistant professor in the Operating Group on loan from Penn State, and I look at the impact of technology on operations questions.
Okay, I see Bill in the back. Yeah, Sumit. All right, so yeah, go ahead. All right. Let's see. No, Turan, you're not new. Amanda? Okay. I don't see the room very well from now on. So, okay, Renning? Gilles there? Yeah. All right. Anyone else? Yeah, David. Excellent. So maybe a round of applause to everyone. All right. Jeffrey also joined the faculty as a professor of practice in the meantime. I also wanted to celebrate the promotion of a few wonderful people, starting with Brooks Holtom, who became a full professor in management and is now our area coordinator in management. Is Brooks here? Okay, good for him. While we are stuck here. Okay, now 3 professors were promoted to associate professor with tenure: Vishal Agrawal, Shannon Ulu, Chris Ryder. If you are in the room, maybe you can rise. All right, so all this faculty creates a lot of energy around research, we have high research productivity. Over the 5 years, our research ranking in the Financial Times has moved from 44 to 30 globally, and from 36 to 23 among the American schools. So we are really making great progress there. I also want to underscore faculty influence. We have this year more than 8,500 mentions in the press. This is more than 3.5 times what we had 5 years ago. And this is shared by more than 55 full-time faculty members who have been mentioned in the press. So this is a shared endeavor that is just an indicator of the influence of our ideas and expertise, which is also reflected in the classroom. We have been blessed by the recent Capital campaign, which has created 20 new endowed named positions for faculty, from faculty fellow to fully fledged chairs. We are very grateful for that. I also want to show appreciation to the teaching and practice faculty who really have embraced the new purpose for their function as defined by the new non-tenure line faculty framework. Basically, there is more leadership among these teaching and practice faculty in terms of teaching initiatives, innovation, technology, as well as bringing the reality into the classroom. So I would like to conclude at this point, actually. So all faculty members at MSB are committed to excellence in research and teaching, but also to service. Okay, so I think everyone I talked to, and so many of us came to me to express the desire to be as helpful as possible as we are in a transition with Dean Williamson, trying to enrich our teaching environment with new innovations, new technology, and more generally trying to serve the school. And at this point, I would like to pass the microphone to Patricia Grant, who is our Senior Associate Dean for Undergraduate Education.
Okay, thank you, Luke. I just want to start by saying thank you to all of you, because you've really been our partners in the undergraduate program for quite some time. I want to thank especially the undergraduate program staff, if you just sort of wave so everyone can see you. Without them, we couldn't do what we do with our nearly 1,400 students. And certainly I want to thank our colleagues and faculty for what you do in the classroom each and every day through case studies, your research, and the ways in which you mentor our undergraduates, because it really does make a difference. And so as you see on the bottom of the slide, it really does talk about the outcomes. What's happening to our students when they graduate after their 4 years with us. Those are fairly impressive stats, I would like to say. They're doing pretty well from these objective measures. But what kind of inputs are we working with them on? What do we give to them in the interim once they decide to come to us? What is it that we're doing to help in their formation process? And so I'd like to have us concern ourselves with for the next several minutes is what we do in the area of principal leadership. How are we asking them to think about who they will be as men and women for others once they're here on campus, and also what happens to them when they leave? So we in the undergraduate programs office really engage them in a variety of activities and programs to help them really think about their values and who they are, who they want to be. So first I want to talk about the sophomore service project. So imagine where you were last week. Some of you may have been at the beach. Our students forego their plans for their spring break, many of them beach inspired, to really volunteer for a week in Philadelphia at Cristo Rey High School to mentor the students there and to help them consider what their collegiate lives will look like when they go on to college. And so it's a really excellent example of the ways in which our students engage in principal leadership. Lemonade Day. I have to tell you, lemonade stands are the #1 things that are mentioned by our students when they apply to Georgetown for business. They talk about their 9 and 10-year-old selves and the lemonade stands that they were so successful at, and how that has inspired them to really dig deeper into what business, studying business might look like, and how they can use their business acumen that they get from you in the classroom to help local middle schoolers to establish their own lemonade stand throughout the DC metro area. They spend weeks learning about marketing, helping the students to develop business plans for a lemonade stand, and they make quite a bit of money doing it. And they talk to them about what to do with that money. And it really is an excellent example of principal leadership. We also have a number of student groups. Those student groups are very active in the community. They're affiliated with local nonprofits and look to help those nonprofits avoid disaster in many ways. These are not one and done volunteer activities. They're engaging with these nonprofits and really putting to use what they're learning from each other and in the classroom to benefit these organizations. That's principal leadership. Every summer, we send students off to lots of places in the globe, and you see the few that are represented from this summer through our Global Social Internship Program. Students who are involved in that forgo high-paying internships to really benefit fledgling businesses and operations in these locations, to look at the communities and see ways that they can improve them. That's principal leadership, and they're relying on case studies and their experiences in your classrooms to do that. Our first year seminar, now entering its 7th year of operation, is a shining example in the curriculum of what principal leadership is. All of our 180 students who are involved in the first year seminar volunteer their time to help a local nonprofit, often on the brink of disaster and failure, to solve a critical challenge. The students are being guided by the faculty in one of 9 seminars. They're also being mentored by those who had come through the first year seminar previously through the case competition. And they present to the executives of that nonprofit to really make a difference in the lives of that nonprofit. The last couple of years, what we've done, instead of sort of saying, here's your solution, good luck, we've said, why don't you allow our students to come and work for you for the summer and implement the strategy that you thought was the best? And they've done that, and the experiences that they've had and come back with are just mind-boggling. That's principal leadership. Now, what's not on this slide is what we do with our students through the Summer Undergraduate Research Fellowship. So I'd like to see the hands of faculty who've been mentoring our students this past summer in the SURF program. I know there are more of you. Thank you. What you are working with our students on, more often than not, and looking at the actual research projects, about 80% of them are really focused on principal leadership topics. They're trying to root out corporate corruption. They're looking at ways to characterize accounting fraud. They're looking at the deep-seated issues in business that cause them to think about who they are, who they want to be as leaders, and our alumni leaders and global ambassadors in the area of business. That's what we're here to do. In an era when many people are wondering, is a college education necessary? What is the point of a college education? As a Jesuit institution that teaches business, we're better than what other people do in these areas. Do you see some of these things at other business schools? Yeah, you might. But I'd like to say and assert that we can and should be doing it better than anyone else. And that's why principal leadership matters. And that's why I hope that when I call upon you, you don't change your number, you don't change your email, and you partner with us to make sure that all of the wonderful research and activities that you do in your various centers, in your classroom, and in the various programs are ones that you involve our undergraduates in so that their period of formation here at Georgetown McDonough is one that they will never, ever forget, and one that reflects very well on our brand. So with that, I'd like to pass it along to Prashant Malavia to talk about the MBA program. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Prashant Malviya. I'm the Senior Associate Dean of the MBA program. And I'm going to say basically the same thing that I said last year, although with considerably less fear and confusion, thanks to Reverend Ostwig. I think he's forgotten his prayer from last year. At the MBA program, our objective really is to achieve excellence in everything we do. And the core message is that it takes a village to do that. Essentially the same message that we heard from Dean Grant. There are so many things we have achieved last year. I'm not going to be able to read through all of them, but just to give you a few highlights. Probably the one that we should be most proud of is the improvement in our rankings. The evening program was ranked number 4 in the country last year. Our full-time programs saw improvements in ranking both in the U.S. News and in the Financial Times. We achieved our expansion objective for the evening program, and we have admitted our largest full-time class ever, not because we designed it that way, but because there were too many students who just wanted to come to Georgetown. And for that, I have to thank a whole host of people. Certainly the staff, and many of you were introduced today. The work that Sherry and her team do on admissions. A stat that is not here is that we, this year in our full-time program, have the 5th most diverse class amongst the top 25 schools. And that's a testament to the great work that the staff does. The work that Carrie and her team do with the students who, once they get on campus, resulted in our best exit survey student satisfaction rating this last year. The work that Doreen and her team do is likely to result, we don't have the data yet, is likely to result in our best placements that we have experienced in the recent past. Speaking with some of the students who have just come back from their summer internships, so far, it looks like we are batting over 85% in terms of internships converting to jobs. And we are certainly ahead of where we were last year at this, on the same metric. So tremendous work by everybody on the team, and clearly, we are moving ahead and in the right path. The new class that has come in, they are, as Rohan mentioned, 2 weeks into their preterm, and you need to be here to understand what goes on, and the work that people like Brad Jensen, Pietra Rivoli, Ferdinando Monte, plus Michael Leary, Janine Turner, John Hasness, all of them who put in to making this preterm really one of the defining moments of our students during their program. Is just tremendous. I also want to say that, again, with respect to the faculty, 4 of our professors who teach in the MBA program, and the graduate programs, were featured amongst the best professors by Poets and Quants. Kathy Tinsley, are you here? Kathy? Alison Custer, are you here? Alison, yeah. Arthur Dong, no. Reena Agarwal, okay, so all 3 were mentioned amongst the best in the world in terms of MBA faculty. And needless to say, we couldn't have achieved any of this without the support of Chris Cormiss and her team, John Carpenter and his team, Justine's work with the alumni, and also, all the work that our intrepid manager of the building, Rob Johnson, has done. I mean, it is incredible the amount of work that he has put in. But the thing that I want to highlight here is the work that our alumni have done and the serious amount of engagement that they have had with us. And just to highlight a couple of things, over the last year, our participation from alumni increased by 50%. Over the last year, our graduating class had a participation rate of 45%, exceeding everything we have done in the past. We have more members on my MBA Advisory Council than we have had in the past. Our reunion this year in September is likely to be the largest reunion we are going to have. And we are planning many more alumni-related events. They, to me, are the most underutilized resource that we have, and they are the most eager to help us and support us. So it takes a village, and I thank you all for being part of the village and continuing the great work. With that, let me introduce Paul Almeida, Deputy Dean of Executive Education and Innovation.
If I knew what the Paul thing was, I'd do it, but sorry, I don't. Ladies and gentlemen, we've had another great year. And we've had another great year thanks to all of you. Your support, your expertise, everything you do for us and with us. And I'm extremely grateful. Exec ed, people, when they think of exec ed, at least when Lynn thinks of exec ed, she thinks of money. And I'm proud to say, yet again, we've exceeded the ever-increasing profitability they expect from us. And we've done it due to all your efforts. We're very grateful. We continue to grow at approximately 3 times the rate of our average competitor. 3 times the rate of our average competitor. And we do it at very high margins. And so we're extremely proud of this. Our EMBA program, for the 5th year in a row, has been ranked by Financial Times in the top 10 in the US. That's extremely important. When we had 42% women a couple of years ago, we were number 2 in the nation in terms of women in our program. This year, we're 45%. We don't yet have the numbers. I'm pretty sure we're number 1. Our Global Executive MBA program continues to grow and excel. And we're so proud of the many things they do. This year, they have a project called the Gemba Legacy Project. And this year, they are looking after AIDS orphans in Kenya, people who have nothing to look forward to. This is a project, every year they start a new project by themselves. They raise money, they make a difference. It's a great time to be in exec ed. I could talk about our custom programs. I could talk about lots of other things. I'm really proud, but I've had a small part in this. I've had a very small part in this. We've had over 120 faculty who have done the Georgetown thing in their programs and literally, swept our competition away. We still earn programs that used to be at Harvard and Darden and Duke. They come to us and tell us they've never had anything like that before. We have over 20 academic directors who look after our degree and non-degree programs with great dedication. We have an amazing staff who deal with very demanding customers. When people are paying $30,000 or $40,000 a day, I promise you they're demanding. And they deal with demanding customers in a very difficult environments all over the world and deliver every time. And we're grateful to our leadership who supports us. So seriously, not on every day, but on most days, I'm convinced I have the best job in the world. And I thank you all for that.
As you know, in the Office of Executive Education, we're guided by 3 principles. Every program we do should enhance our prestige. Every program we do should increase our innovation and learning so we can compete even better in the future. And every program we do must be pretty highly profitable. And yes, but how do you do this? If you actually look at the field of executive education, it's becoming ever more competitive. Everyone's trying to be corporate universities, whatever they are, McKinsey, all the consulting firms, and now almost every educational unit anyway wants to get into the act. So it's becoming a growing but pretty tough playing field in which to be profitable. And I'd like to share with you our approach to competing in a sustainable way. So, I'm going to share with you just 4 programs. Now, the Presidential Leadership Scholarship Program is not our program. It's run by 4 presidential centers, Bush 41, Bush 43, Clinton, and LBJ. We are the faculty partners, and we help design, develop, Mike O'Leary, Brooks Holtom, and I, and teach many of these programs. I remember last year, Condoleezza Rice asked me, why Georgetown? And Laura Bush also said, Georgetown is a great place, but why Georgetown? After 2 years of doing this, no one asks why Georgetown. One of our greatest strengths is our neighbor next door, the School of Foreign Service. They're known throughout the world when you say international relations, when you say Georgetown. And so it makes total sense for us to combine with them, to partner with them, to offer what I think is a signature Georgetown program, a Master's of Arts in International Business and Policy, a modular program that we offer together with them around the world. I think this is the first of many. This is a way, again, of building and enhancing our prestige. We're a Catholic and Jesuit institution. And what's the oldest multinational organization in the world? The Vatican. And it's perhaps the multinational organization in the world which has the greatest potential for reform. And so I'm so proud that we're a part of this reform challenge. I'm so proud that we've delivered the first ever management training program in the history of the Vatican. And they're calling us back, not for 1 or 2 more, but several more over several years. And we're in Washington, D.C., the home to multilateral institutions, a great place to be. And so we've done several programs and continue to do several programs for institutions like the World Bank, which play off our subject matter expertise in leadership, in finance, international business. So if you look at these 4 programs, what are we trying to do? Every single program plays to our expertise and builds our expertise. Every single program increases our prestige and makes it more likely that other clients are going to want to work with us. Every single program marks our niche and identifies us to the world. And we hope and expect to continue to build sustainable, profitable, high-quality programs by following this approach. Finally, I'd like to talk to you about innovation. I just noticed I have 0 minutes left on the clock. It's my favorite subject. I've studied innovation for 25 years. And we belong to a very, very innovative school. Really think about it. 23 years ago, the EMBA program started this idea of this global consulting residency. And then it spread through our school, and it spread to lots of schools throughout the world. We were the first truly global executive MBA program. There was nothing before that. Now there are 15 to 20 of them. We started the MBA program, the undergraduate program have come up with so many innovations. So we're a very innovative school. But there are changes taking place in the business school landscape and the higher education landscape. And they're not restricted to technology or globalization or financial aid. There are many important changes, and I think it's critical that we recognize what these are and figure out how we want to place ourselves in this future emerging landscape. Now, I realize I've studied innovation for many years. Innovation is a lovely word. The act of innovation can be really tough, right? And if it's not handled well, it can actually disorient and have negative effects. And so we have to be smart. We have to be gentle, and we have to be positive. So let me just offer you how we hope to proceed with this. Firstly, our role is not to own innovation in the school. That would be extremely silly, but to help harness the thousands of innovations that are taking place every day and must take place every day throughout the school and the university. We are here as facilitators, sometimes as guides, sometimes to provide resources, sometimes to benchmark, sometimes to share. Innovation must be about making our everydays better, both in the short term and the long term. Faculty need to have teaching so that they can keep it in sensible modules or semesters so that they can spend their time on research. That's really important. Our programs need to be better and better. Our students' learning experiences need to be continuously enhanced so that Georgetown is absolutely the best place for them to come and learn. Our staff and I have great admiration after being 6 years in my administrative tenure. I have greater admiration for our staff than even ever before. And we want to continue on this journey of administrative excellence. And of course, where possible, we need to grow, we need to enhance our profitability. And so, what I'd like to suggest is what I think a sensible approach. Over the next 6 months, between working with Chris Comas and Matt Lewis and Jeff and Adam and others, try to form 3 working groups. Each working group will look at a different issue. What programs should we create? How do we enhance existing programs? How do we achieve overall organizational efficiency and growth? We're going to draw members from throughout the business school and come up with recommendations for our existing dean and perhaps for the next dean to say, these are sensible ways in which we can innovate. These are sensible ways in which our financial model can match our organization, our culture, systems, processes, and match our strategy as we go into the future. That's what we need to do. My colleagues, I think the future offers us some challenges, but tremendous opportunity. And I truly believe we have the chance, or maybe even the calling, to design the future for ourselves, the future that we want to live in. And so I really look forward to this chance to walk with you on this innovative journey over the next year. Thank you.
That's what I mean by the Paul thing. So I'm the last one here. I'm going to try to be brief because what I don't want to have happen, I don't want Luke to stand up and go, that was too long. So we'll try to go through this very quickly here. And so I want to just put a welcome out again to all the new staff and the new faculty. And as I'm doing that, I want to kind of apologize for my new finance and accounting colleagues because there was an email that said business attire and not one of them are wearing a tie. In fact, Samit doesn't have on a belt, so I mean, we got So, but at any rate, Rohan Williamson again, and when Patricia stood up here and said, while you guys were out at the beach or somewhere, probably about a month ago, I got a call about, hey, you asked me to be the deputy dean. So, Patricia, I have not been at the beach. I've been downstairs. I've been down in the office trying to get up to speed so I can take on this really important job. But what I want to talk about for a few minutes is that where we are now as a university and where we are thinking about going or where we would like to go. I want to think about where we are right now as really an inflection point. And I want to think about it sort of in three dimensions. One is, as you see behind me here, we're in our 60th year as a business school. We've been doing this for 6 decades. And over the 6 decades, just kind of looking back at what we've accomplished, we started an MBA program. We started 8 other graduate programs. As Paul pointed out, we've done a lot of innovation. It went from nowhere to being ranked in the top 20 across all the major programs. So we've achieved a lot in a very short period of time. We went from prior to that not having research at all to being a very strong research institution and doing a lot on the scholarship front. I think we all should be very proud of what we've done over the past 60 years. But as you achieve things and as we move forward, things become a little bit more difficult and we need to meet the challenge. So we went from nowhere, now we're ranked in the top 20. Things sort of change. It's much more difficult to go from the 50th ranked school to the 45th ranked school than it is to go from the 20th ranked school to the 15th ranked school. And so if we're going to be in that, in where we're competing now, we're competing against some very, very good schools. So we need to perfect our game. I think about this commercial that came on a long time ago from Lexus that says, "A relentless pursuit of perfection." We're what I would like to say, we're in a game of inches now. It's very difficult for us to move, so we need to fine-tune what we're doing. We need to do a lot of things much better for us to compete against the schools that we need to compete with to move up. I know the MBA program has a goal of being in the top 15 by 2020. If we're going to get there, we need to work very hard amongst all dimensions. So over the next period, at this inflection point, first we want to look back, celebrate our accomplishments, but look at the challenges that face us and be ready to take on those challenges. Now, this is another inflection point, another way to look at it. We've just finished a big campaign, right? And we've raised over $1.5 billion at the university level, up over $130 million at the school level, which is a great accomplishment. But now we're in a period of planning. What are we going to do in the next campaign? The president has asked by the end of October for us to set our priorities of what we want to do as a school. So we need to think as faculty, as staff, what do we want to be going forward? How are we going to perfect our research, our teaching, and our contributions? When students come in, we say, well, you're going to have a transformational experience. How are we going to accomplish that? We need to think about where we're going to be. When a new dean comes in, we need to know who we are and what we want to be, and then we need to focus on that. So we need to get together and figure out where we want to be going forward as an institution. And finally, Paul mentioned this idea of innovation. So we're driven to this inflection point just through time. We're going into the next decade, and we want to continue to grow as we've been doing. We're at a point now that we need to think and plan for the future. And also, we have external forces. There's a lot of question of how we're going to think about business education in the future. This is an issue that a lot of schools are dealing with, and we need to deal with it as well. How can we think about it? We need to innovate in this process. And Paul, when we talk about innovation, we think about, well, let's get really nice technology. Okay, we've done a lot of innovation in the past. This is something that we know that we can do. We've started new programs. As Paul mentioned out, we said, well, now a global project is a part of a lot of what we do at the graduate level and also at the undergraduate level. Now, what are we going to do next? One of the challenges, as academics, for instance, we do a lot of things in silos. And the provost talked a lot about, well, there's silos on campus. We sort of do what we do. We don't look at what other schools are doing across campus. And even within the business school, we stay in our own disciplines. We don't look across disciplines. And some of us, we do research alone. We don't look at what anyone else is doing. I think now, if we want to innovate, we need to sort of look around. Develop good best practices that someone else may be doing in research and in other areas. For instance, the undergraduate admissions process and the graduate admissions process could compare notes. We could look at do analytics as to what we can do going forward. So this is an opportunity for us to think about the external world is saying, well, things need to change. How are we going to use technology? What are we going to do different going forward for business education? So at this point, we need to think about all those things so we can be better, so we can continue to compete. Now, this year, what I would like for you to do is not just to say, well, we need to go through a big struggle. But what we need to do is look back and say, wow, we've done a lot. What you're asking us to do is what we've done all along. We've started a lot of programs. I see a lot of individuals here. I see Bill Drums here. I know he's been around and he's done a lot from the initial stages. And I'm sure if you ask Bill, he can say where things were from where they are right now, there have been tremendous changes. Okay, I can think back at my career. We were in Old North. This is true. Even sitting here, we had nothing that looked like this 20 years ago. But now look at where we are. But guess what? As I mentioned, things are getting much tougher. Okay, we need to just continue to get better. Now, what can you do at your level? I don't want you to come to work and say, well, just do the same old things we used to do, but think about opportunities that we can continue to grow and develop as a school. Paul, one thing he didn't mention about the innovation, as you know, Paul has a new title. It's not just Dean of Executive Education. He's the Deputy Dean of Strategy and Innovation. So Paul is going to be like the depository for all these ideas. He set it up in these bins, but he's going to be the person that coordinates along with several teams. He's going to reach out to a lot of you in this room to play a key role or an important role in determining where we're going to be in the future. Now I'm here at least for another year. Look forward to a one-year job. Maybe I can get a vacation after that. But what I don't want us to do is just sit here and just wait. This year is far too important for us. We have to look at what we're going to be in the future, because keep in mind, our competitors are not sitting around waiting to see what happens at Georgetown next. They're competing and they're doing new things. We have to plan for when that time comes. Everyone should be engaged. And I'm just asking each and every one of you, if you have any ideas or anything that you could do, to please share it with us. I want you to work with me, because I didn't take this job to come and sit back and relax. I'm going to make sure that we move forward as a school. We have to continue growing. We have to continue developing. We have to continue moving, because if we don't, we're going to be ranked in the other direction, and we're going to lose a lot of what we've accomplished so far. And I want everyone here to also be engaged in the process, not just with me, but with one another, to continue to make Georgetown a great place that it's been and make it greater in the future. Okay? Now, that's all. Thank you all very much. What I'll do at this point is invite up all the deans and deputy deans that you've heard so far, and we're going to open it up for questions, because we know you guys are looking forward to a free lunch. Okay? You guys come up here. Are there any questions for me or anyone else here? Over here, LaDon.
On being our new dean. 60 years of achievement is fantastic, and as we're on our trajectory upwards, we have a tremendous amount of opportunity. In the context of the financial circumstances we're in currently with the school, any highlights you can tell us about how we will balance the financial issues that we're contending with the university, as well as keeping in mind our need and desire to continue to propel and be in the game of inches to move upward?
Okay, I want to approach that sort of in two ways. First of all, the university and the president and the provost and all leaders of the university, they're looking at the university in general, and Georgetown is at a point now that we're going to compete. The schools that we compete with, I pointed this out before, that we're lacking not from a financial standpoint in terms of an endowment. But there's a goal that the university wants to achieve, and as the business school, I'm sure no one would object that we have to play our role in this process. And so the financial structure issues we're going through now is exactly what role does the business school need to play. They're committed to what we don't want to do is start cutting things back and doing less, because they appreciate the fact that we have been growing at a very high rate, and we want to continue to do that because there is joint interest. And a part of us being engaged going forward for the next campaign and otherwise is for us to be a part of this broader university and for us to exchange with one another. So if you look at the financial structure, what we want to do and what the university supports is us to continue to grow. All we're trying to do now is a way of how to, there's been a lot of uncertainty and instability in what the structure sort of looks like. We're now trying to solidify that, put more stability in that structure. And what I'm just committed to doing is make sure that the process works well for us. I've had several meetings with the provost and others at the university level, and we're definitely moving in the right direction. There's been a lot of discussion, I pointed out at town hall, about this 56% tax rate. We're beyond that now, but some of these things take a while to work out the details. So what I want everyone to walk away with is I don't want you to worry about the financial structure. It's going to be taken care of, and things are going to be fine. And 2017 is fixed. Okay, as we move forward, it's not going to be about what we can cut. We need to be more efficient, we need to be more productive, and we need to innovate so we can continue to move forward. So it's going to be to think about it as a time of investment so we can do better in the future and not a point that we are of cutting things. So that's what I want you to take away in general. In terms of the exact details, those are TBD. Okay, but don't, in your day-to-day, that's something, don't lose any sleep over it. Don't think about it. Just come, innovate, and try to continue to maintain the trajectory that we are now. If there's something you need that has a high ROI, I'm a finance guy, I'm going to talk ROI, then you can come and talk about the investment, and we're going to work hard to make sure you get it. Okay? Anyone else? The food isn't that good, so you can ask me questions. Yeah, it's the wine? Okay. No more questions? So if you don't have any more questions, you should at least give these here a round of applause. And I thank each and every one of you, and we'll continue to work hard to have Georgetown grow and continue to get better. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all in Fisher, okay? And save me some food, will you?